You might be better than the other chick, okay? But if you make that man feel a certain kind of way, he's going to go where he's respected. He's going to go where he's being honored and cherished and treated like a king or whatever. He's going to go there because you don't treat him well, because you don't act right. And you may be cute, but you have to work on some other things because you can't talk to men crazy. You can't, just because you're pretty doesn't give you the license to act in certain ways. Ooh, y'all, I hadn't heard that before. You know, all right, y'all. So today, welcome, family. Today, I'm going to talk about something that is a little bit more challenging for me to talk about, but it is the 3 lessons that I learned from the most devastating heartbreak I've ever experienced in my life. Hey, before we get into the video, I need you to go ahead and hit the subscribe button. Your girl's posting content daily, okay? So go ahead, hit the subscribe button. Join our family, or what I'm going to call game changers. Game changers unite. You want to join the game changer movement? Hit the subscribe button. We growing fast, y'all. Let's get into it, okay? So hit the subscribe button. So y'all, let's get into the story, okay? So this is several years ago. I was young. I started the relationship when I was 19. Relationship ended around like 21, I believe. It was like 21 years old. Yeah, I was like around 21 years old. So it was a significant relationship for me because it definitely was with someone that I really felt like was my first love. I couldn't see the door. I was so into that relationship. And, you know, it was a devastating process because it was also one of the first relationships where this person, I kept catching this person cheating. All right. Now, I'm not going to say your girl was, St. Catherine, because I wasn't. There was definitely things that I needed to work on as an individual, because of how I conducted myself in that relationship. I didn't show up the way I needed it to, the way I needed to. Anyway, so we go through this relationship, we're on and off, we're together, we're not together, we're together, we're not together. And this goes on for maybe 2.5 years, 3 years, okay? And so finally the relationship ends, and maybe I'll get into the story of it all. But it really boils down to us being very young, being very immature, and me not being able to handle my emotions, right? And then I'm being with someone who's a young man, young man. He was an athlete. And so it's like somebody that is young and he's up and coming and he's doing his thing. And, it just was a lot. We were young. And I think that at the time, it just wasn't a healthy dynamic. But again, on and off, 2 years, 2.5 years. With that being said, we decided to, at the end of it, we decided I broke up with him again. Okay, mind you, your girl be breaking up. Okay, so this is like probably the 100th time we done broke it up. So I was fully anticipating us to get back together, but that didn't happen. Okay, he decided to move on, and he should have, because it wasn't healthy. That was actually God. I didn't know it in the moment, but that was God that separated us both. We shouldn't have been in that relationship. It was at that point toxic for the both of us. But anyway, he decides to get with somebody else while we're broken up. That I was devastated, y'all. I was heartbroken. I didn't know what to do, how to conceptualize, somebody that I care so much about, and I'm not able to get them back. Like, they're not even open for me to get back in their good graces. There was things that I could have done differently. And I think in that moment, I wanted so badly to rectify what I've done wrong, even though I hadn't learned anything since the breakup, right? I'm going in, I'm just like, oh, I recognize I've got things that are wrong with me, but I want to get back together and work on it with you. Okay. But thank God that didn't happen. So in the end, relationship ends, and I now have to figure out, who is Sam going to be now that this relationship's over? And I didn't even know. I mean, I was at the school where he was at and everything like that. And it was just so hard for me to deal with this break, this heartbreak. I mean, I didn't know, I had never experienced that kind of pain. I mean, never. I've had breakups in the past, but this one just hit me so much different. And we're going to get into, in this video, what I learned from it. Starting with, we're going to go in descending order. So starting with an important message, but not as important as the other two messages. The first message is the most important lesson that I learned. And I hope you learn from my pain, y'all. I know that a lot of us are going through heartbreaks. A lot of us are dealing with really challenging times. It's a difficult time for us all. So I felt like this kind of video would help someone being able to navigate a breakup. All right, y'all, before I get into the lessons, I need to go ahead and let you know, subscribe. Subscribe, baby. Okay, all right, back to what I was saying. All right, so the third most important lesson that I learned from that heartbreak, that at my 22-year-old self just could not, y'all, I could not see myself without that man at that time. Again, that's besides the point. Whole point is, third most important lesson that I learned was from a woman that I was actually getting my hair done with. She said to me, I was like, at the time I was young. I felt like I was really cute. I was feeling myself, right? I'm like, ooh, I'm bad. They ain't cuter than me. They don't even touch me. I'm this, that, and the third. I just was feeling myself because, people had at that time had just filled up my head with how attractive I was. I think in my mind, I felt like that was the only thing that was important. And so she sat there and she heard me talk about the girl that he was with that I knew about and how I compared to her in an attractive level. And she stopped me. She stopped me in the middle of that. And she said, you can talk about who's cute, who's not cute, and you might be cuter than her. But at the end of the day, it's not about how attractive you are. It's about how you make that man feel. You might be better than the other chick, okay? But if you make that man feel a certain kind of way, he's going to go where he's respected. He's going to go where he's being honored and cherished and treated like a king or whatever. He's going to go there because you don't treat him well, because you don't act right. And you may be cute, but you have to work on some other things. Because you can't talk to men crazy. You can't, just because you're pretty doesn't give you the license to act in certain ways. Ooh, y'all, I hadn't heard that before. And I realized at that moment that I had kind of like stopped at, oh, you're a pretty person. And therefore that's where my job is done. I don't have to do any work on my personality, my character, nothing. But at that moment, I realized that I had to do some real internal work because there was a lot of broken parts of me that I was bringing into relationships. And just because I was cute, I was giving myself the license to be able to go into these situations. So I say this to say that your pretty ain't everything. Your pretty may get you in the door, but it won't keep you there. And so I had to learn, I had to develop, I wanted to develop more character. I wanted to really heal some things from the inside out so that I could be a better partner in the future. And so, yes, that's the third most important lesson. Yo, pretty ain't everything, sis. It ain't. It's about how you make that man feel. All right, y'all. Second most important lesson. Yes, I got a marker in my hand. Second most important lesson was that time don't mean anything when it comes to healing a heartbreak, okay? You have to make the choice to heal. Reason why I say this is because after that relationship, I was broken for years. And then I'm not saying heartbroken, like, that situation. I had not truly healed. I hadn't forgiven that person. I hadn't forgiven or allowed God or received God's forgiveness for how I showed up. I for years, I was carrying that anger and that animosity and that bitterness into every other relationship to where I couldn't be the person that I needed to be. There was so much that needed to be done because I was bringing this baggage with me. It wasn't until, I actually sat down with a therapist and worked through what I was dealing with. And really processing. I mean, I wrote a letter. I ended up ripping up the letter with my therapist, but that was so therapeutic. I truly let it go. And I really learned a lot about myself. I learned like different aspects, triggers, things that I needed to work through. That is, no one's responsible for dancing around my triggers, right? I am responsible for managing myself, for managing my emotions. It's no one else's responsibility. There was a lot of insecurities that I was dealing with. There was a lot of, even outside of that relationship, I came in an insecure woman. I came in with my own issues. Okay. And especially when we talk about number 3, your looks are so fleeting, right? Your looks can be here today, gone tomorrow. And so when you only have that, it's a very superficial confidence you have, because there's always going to be somebody more attractive to you than you, right? There's always going to be somebody that has something that you don't. So it's like, you do have to go within. You do have to really develop some other things that make you who you are. After really sitting down with a therapist and really working through not only that relationship, but stuff from my childhood and things like that I was carrying, only then was I able to say I had healed. Otherwise than that, only time had passed. I hadn't healed. I was still very much broken from the time the breakup happened. I hadn't really taken the time, the quality time that I needed to take to heal. So I would say time don't mean nothing. You got to choose to heal. You got to be intentional about healing. You may not need to go in front of a therapist, but therapists work for me. It truly did. It really was a game changer for me to show up in a different way in my future relationships. Woo, 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 woo. We made it to number 1. Okay, y'all, the most important lesson I learned in this heartbreak, that life truly isn't worth living without having a relationship with God. Y'all, I could cry right now how much that resonates with me. Y'all, I was living as a very broken person. And I think I struggled with my relationship with God because I did not think that with all that I had done, that God could love someone like me. And really just being able to have that relationship with him gave me so much freedom. It made me like I don't walk through this life alone. I had a tough night the other night, and I felt God's presence, and I knew like he was here. I was like, oh, okay, my best friend's here. Y'all, it just gave me so much purpose. You know, I tell you that breakup was a blessing. And even though I didn't know it in the moment, God was going to use that to bring me back to him. And he did. And I'm so grateful for it. There was like, no offense to that person, but I dodged a bullet. I mean, listen, he may be watching. Listen, I'm not saying that you're a bad person. I'm just saying that relationship was toxic. I was toxic. He had some things going on with him. And even prior to me walking into that relationship, I wasn't where I needed to be, right? I had a lot going on. I thought that, I'm pretty, so I get this pass to treat and act and do, and that's not real, okay? I had to get out of being superficial. I had to start digging deep. I had to start really healing from some things that I was carrying. I had to really fall in love with who I am as a person. I truly believe you can't love somebody if you don't love you. You really can't. The Bible says, love your neighbor as yourself. You can't love somebody well if you don't love you well. And that was something I had to learn, because even though I thought I was cute, I didn't love me. There were parts of me that I still hadn't accepted, still hadn't really truly fallen in love with. And again, there's going to be things about everybody that they don't like, but it's just those things. It's not, I don't like me as a person. I don't like what I come with. I don't like there's people that genuinely don't like themselves, and you can tell by how they conduct themselves in their relationships and how they treat other people. All right, y'all. So anyway, that is the last one. The biggest lesson that I learned in all of this was that life was just not worth living if God wasn't in it. And so now at the end of it all, y'all, I am so happy that happened. I'm so happy that it happened that way, because it really did do something for me. And so I'm grateful for the heartbreak. I'm grateful for the pain. I'm grateful for it all. I will see you in my next video. Let me know what you think in the comments. What lessons did you learn from heartbreak? What lessons did you learn? Share it in the comments below. And I will see you guys in my next video. Love y'all. Bye. Hey guys, thank you for watching this video. I appreciate you guys. Go ahead, hit the subscribe button, y'all. Let's not just be every once in a while. Let's become family, okay? Friends that are family, okay? Join my family today.